you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Come on, Nurse Ball Summit, you can do better than that. Shake the Sheraton. Come on, come on. Give it up for our one and only, our hostess with the mostest, Dominique. Yeah, showing some love. Of course, to your vivacious visionary, Miss Tammy Lewis. Let her hear you. Come on, make some noise for her. She's impacting locally, she's impacting nationally, she's sure impacting globally. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad to be here. Of course, to all those in protocol, all those I don't know to call, to Lottie Dottie and everybody. It's good to see you tonight. Y'all woke?
Yeah!
Come on, nudge somebody, tell them it's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Come on, tell them how much they owe you for allowing them to sit next to you. Come on, tell them you owe me $50, you owe me $100. It's a down payment on your tithes and your offering for tomorrow. I count it a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure to be here with you at this year's Nurse Ball Summit. And really I believe this summit is symbolic because this is your Thrive Tribe. You don't solely go as high as your dream, you go as high as your team. And yeah, let me say that twice because it's oh so nice. You don't solely go as high as your dream, you go as high as your team. And your teamwork will make the dream work. My hometown is Motown. My feet are in Nashville, but my heart is in Detroit. And so I greet you with the words, what up, though?
What up, though?
Come on, can y'all say it 1, 2, 3?
What up, though?
Come on, say it louder. What up, though? There it is. Hey, where my Detroiters at? I got some Detroiters in here. Wave your hands in the air like you really care. Yeah, there it is. I love it. I know the elephant in the room is my bearded baby face, so I'll tell you my age. I'm older than Michael B. Jordan, younger than Michael Jordan. I'm older than Jaden Smith, younger than Will Smith. So y'all know black don't crack. Brown won't let you down, beige don't age. Tan got a plan. And lighter do you right. I think I got everybody in here. I think I got everybody. You know, today I want to stretch the elasticity of your thinking by using as a topic entitled, The Heart of a Hero. That's what I want to talk about, the heart of a hero. And really, that's what a nurse, a first responder like you embodies, and that is the heart of a hero. Nurses just, come on, all the nurses, put one finger up in the air. Come on, put your ones in the air. Wave your ones in the air like you really care. Why is that? Because you are heroic first responders. You're one of one, you are number one. And oftentimes first responders and nurturing nurses like you put yourselves last. And so I'm here to empower you to prioritize you and your purpose too. And I don't believe you can really act like a nurse and think like a boss if you don't possess the heart of a hero. Real quickly, I want you to close your eyes and imagine for a brief moment that someone who knew that you were fighting for your life walked up to you and said these words, I thought you died. Yeah, shocking, right? Disturbing and totally insensitive. So much so that probably you popped open your eyes. Well, those are the exact same words a guy said to me some years ago. And listen, y'all, I was angry, I was upset, I was absolutely frustrated. Listen, y'all, I was so mad, I was getting ready to have a Will Smith, Chris Rock moment. And I wasn't gonna be Chris. We were in Detroit, I didn't even get the word what up though, and truth be told, a lot of us as heroes don't even understand, people don't understand the amount of pain and the enormity that we go through. I was so angry that day that in many cases, I know he wasn't a nurse, but he was gonna need one. I don't know if you've ever been so frustrated and so angry that you didn't even know how to deal with it, but emotional intelligence took over for you. Heroes are oftentimes leading while they're bleeding. They are helping everyone else while they're hurting. And it sounds a lot like what you all as nurses do, doesn't it? Yes. Steve Jobs, who's one of the original innovators of Mac computers and the iPhone, said if you want everybody to like you, don't be a leader, just sell ice cream. And I'm sure there are certain people in your life, despite whatever it is that you do, they will dislike you based on a particular flavor. Here's the thing about heroes. Heroes are not people pleasers, because if you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. Rather than being people pleasers, heroes, here's what they are courageous enough to be leaders. First, by leading themselves. They're not selfish, they are selfless. Because it's not about me, it's about we. It's not about I, it's about us. And here's the thing, being a hero is hard work, but it's heart work, because heart work is heroic. And too many people, we oftentimes these days confuse being a hero with being a celebrity. Too many people would rather be popular than powerful. They would rather be celebrated than appreciated and dedicated. They would rather seek applause than roll up their sleeves and work for a dynamic cause. Dr. Cornell Wells declared, you can't save the people if you won't serve the people. You can't lead the people if you won't love the people. And being a hero is about being self-aware. It's about you possessing the ingredients of emotional, relational, and even spiritual intelligence, because heroes are servant leaders. Servant leadership is about more than just reconciliation, but servant leadership is about recognition. It's about more than awards. It's about understanding that there is a dynamic, serious reward. The heroic cause must be that if I can help somebody as I travel along, that's what our calling should be, then our living will not be in vain. Simply because Dr. King declared everybody can be great because anybody can serve. All you need is a heart of love, a soul generated by love. Why is that? Because having that will cause us to have a transformative heart, because the greatest leader is a servant leader. Here's the thing that we got to understand, and that is the power of serving. And leading has to be a calling. Formal education is going to make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Formal education, accolades, success, money, and having more degrees than a thermometer is not the litmus test of leadership. It's the substantive, it's the substantiated framework that's rooted in the foundation of servitude. Scripture even declares, he that is greatest among you will be your servant. And so nursing is about serving. Nursing is about giving. Nursing is about giving back. The essence of greatness, the essence of servitude, the essence of leadership is about more than you just having a title or a profession. It's about you understanding your specific function. If you just look around this room today, if you look around this room this morning, as I look around this room, I can clearly see that we are the superheroes. We are the leaders that we've been looking for. Got to understand, nobody's coming to save us. As a nurse, you are a nurturer by nature. What difference will you make? You got to ask yourself these specific questions. What difference will I make today? Who can I show up and serve today? What will be my legacy? What's my driving force? What's my passion? What's my drive? What is it that energizes me? What is it that I was called to do? What is it that wakes me up in the morning beyond God and my alarm clock? How excellent do I want to be? How can I shift the trajectory of my job and in my career and in my calling? Do I want to be good or do I want to be great? Do I want to be ordinary or do I want to be extraordinary? Because our value is not in what we have. Our value is in understanding the greatness of who it is that we are. Every queen, just give another queen a hair flip and a high five, 3 snaps in the neck roll. Tell her, you go, girl.
You go, girl.
Come on, tell another queen, you go, girl.
You go, girl.
Come on, you are a queen. Quintessentially unique, empowering everyone naturally. Real queens don't compete, they collaborate. Real queens are not chasing a man, they're focused on their purpose and plan. Real queens understand that their royalty demands loyalty. As a result, here's what they do. They wear their crown and they build their queendom in the kingdom of God, because they understand that it's not about what I have, it's about who I am that makes me valuable. This is not about what you're driving, it's about what's driving you. Because what is it to wear a Rolex or a Timex, but you don't even know what time it is? What is it to wear designer glasses, but you don't have a vision? Why? Because eyesight can't give you insight. Because if you have sight but no vision, you're still blind.
That's good.
People perish for lack of knowledge. And maybe you're here in Tennessee, so I can ask you the question, what do you see? What do you see about yourself? What do you see about your greatness? What do you see about the value of who it is that you are? And this is what I want you to do before you leave here today. I want you to adjust your vision. I I want you to just see more and before. I don't want you to just see what's on you. I want you to see what's within you. Come on, I want you to just link up with a sister while you sit next to her and take a selfie. Come on, take a selfie. Take a selfie, take a selfie. Yeah, the next time you look at yourself, you're going to look better than where it is that you look now. Come on, take a selfie with a sister. Come on, take a selfie with a sister. Yeah, I don't want you to just look at yourself. I want you to see in yourself. I want you to see in your greatness. I want you to see in your value. I want you to see that love is within you. I want you to see that power is within you. I want you to see that there's a boss inside of you. So I want you to see. I want you to see yourself in real estate. I know you're a nurse, but you're also a professor. I know you're a nurse, but you're also a teacher. I know you're a nurse, but you can still be in real estate. I want you to see yourself on not just Main Street, but Wall Street. I want you to see yourself creating nurse apparel. I want you to see yourself moving the needle forward in your industry. I want you to see yourself opening up that healthcare center. I don't know who I'm talking to. I hope it's you. I want you to see yourself in Fortune 500 boardrooms. Oh, come on. I wish I had somebody who knew it today. I want you to see yourself in a different tax bracket. I want you to see yourself as an innovator and a creator. I don't want you to see yourself as a follower. I want you to see yourself as a trendsetter. I want you to see yourself as a history maker. I want you to see yourself as a record breaker. I want you to see yourself as a business maverick. I want you to see yourself as an influencer. Do you have a picture of your future? Why? Because vision is purpose in pictures. I want you to see yourself as an empowered entrepreneur, as an innovative intrapreneur. You got to understand that you have what it takes. You are gifted for greatness. You are not this or that. You are this and that. You break the box. God broke the mold when he made you. You were not created to fit in. I need you to hear me, but you were born to stand out and be outstanding. Dr. Miles Monroe said something that arrested my attention. He said, you have to give your ability a responsibility. Yeah. Give your ability a responsibility. In order to do that, here it is, it's more than just words, it's works. In order to do that, you have to overcome a scarcity mindset. You got to overcome emotional snipers. You have to overcome stinking thinking that oftentimes keeps you sulking and sinking. You have to know and get this, you got to get the knots out of your thoughts. You got to overcome imposter syndrome and gaslighting and NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, that oftentimes people try to put and place on you. You have to overcome the feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. You got to overcome self-limiting imposed beliefs. You have to overcome conformity and complexity. You have to overcome a mediocre mindset. Why? Because if your dreams are affordable, you're not dreaming big enough. You got to understand today that you are not average, you are amazing. You are not an underachiever, you are an overcomer. You must unlearn and relearn by retraining your brain. You survive, but you're here to thrive. This is what you got to do. You have to overthrow the status quo. You got to think bigger. You got to think better. You got to think brighter. And here's the thing, if you're going to think, it might as well be big.
Yes. Yes.
Come on, where are my big thinkers at? Come on, wave your hand. Wave your hands as high as you see yourself going. Yeah, you got to be a disruptive thinker. You got to be a disruptive thinker. Too oftentimes we are distorted thinkers, but you got to be a disruptive thinker. Got to be an innovator. You got to be a mover. You got to be a shaker. You have to be innovative. You got to tap into your inner genius. You have to say to yourself, where is the nursing industry going, and how can I get there before it's already there? Wayne Gretzky said, and I'm not a big hockey fan, but he said something that arrested my attention. He said, I wasn't just thinking about where the puck was, I was thinking about where it was going. And I skated to where it was going to be. Where are you seeing the trajectory of your industry and where it's going, and what can you do to move the needle forward now? Because you have all the answers. You are the people and the leaders that we've been looking for. 21st century, this 21st century is the skill of critical thinking. One of the greatest skills of this century is going to be the skill of critical thinking. In the midst of nanotech, in the midst of automation, in the midst of AI, in the midst of big tech, because the ultimate measure of a hero is not where you stand in moments of comfort and convenience, or where you stand in times of controversy and challenge. Sadly, in these yet to be United States of America, here's what we like about heroes. We like our heroes dead. Yeah, we like our heroes dead. When our heroes are alive, we tear them down and we run their names through the streets. And then when they're dead, we name the streets after them. Dr. King didn't even achieve the heights of popularity until he was assassinated. Wasn't seen as a saint until he was killed. We like dead heroes. And here's the thing, the dead can't make a sound. The dead can't challenge us. We prefer monuments over movements. We would rather verbalize and memorize quotes from those who have gone on than to maximize our lives like the servant leaders that we were created to be. We live by the credo that service is the rent we pay for the space we occupy. And here's the question: how do you respond to life's interruptions? Yeah, interruptions about more than somebody cutting you off in traffic and throwing up a finger to you that you didn't approve of. Interruptions about more than somebody saying something nasty and negative to you on social media. Many of us react, but how do you respond? We become thermometers. We become thermometers, but not thermostats. We reflect the temperature of the situation and the atmosphere. But what are you doing to change the temperature of the environment with an attitude of gratitude? Too many times we have a knee-jerk reaction. We're so emotional, but we're not rational and practical. And so we do something in a permanent situation with temporary people that oftentimes leaves permanent scars. Emotional intelligence is that which is going to be the key to open up the door of opportunity. Because it's okay to feel your emotions, but it's not okay for your emotions to feel you. Who am I talking to? Why is that? Because life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. And oftentimes 90% of the time we focus on the 10% to where now the 10% becomes 100% of your lives. What do I mean by that? Your father not being in your life was just 10%. The divorce of what it is that you went through was just 10%. You losing that child, you losing that loved one, 10%. The abuse that maybe you experienced was just 10%. The people who you thought were going to love you and lift you wound up hurting you and harming you was just 10%. The father wounds and the mother wounds and the trauma and the triggers, the TNT that became so mentally explosive in your life was just 10%. Here's the question: what will you do with the rest of the 90? Somebody's waiting for you to become who you are so they can become who they're supposed to be. Here's the question: how much longer will you make them wait? How much longer will you make them wait to where you procrastinate on writing the book? To where you procrastinate on being a next level leader and a next level thinker? To where you procrastinate on birthing the business and opening up the healthcare center and developing the apparel and creating something that's going to shift the trajectory and create generational wealth? Come on, boss. Come on, look at that neighbor. Tell him I'm a boss. Come on. What will you do with the remaining 90%? How will you thrive and tell your story? I don't want you to just focus so much on being a nurse that you don't boss up. Come on, you got to boss up in your level of thinking. You got to boss up in your relationships. You got to boss up in your connections. You have to boss up in saying, listen, I am on alignment. I am in alignment with my divine assignment. Despite the pain, what will you do to pivot? What will you do to prosper? Despite struggle, you got to understand that there's strength. Despite obstacles, this is your opportunity to overcome. Why is that? Because the most beautiful thing about you is not your curves. It's not your hips that makes men trip. It's not your fingertips. It's not your toenails. It's not just your hair. I know you got your hair whipped, dipped, fried, dyed, and laid to the side. I know you G'd up from the feet up. I know you got your hair done, nail done, everything did, and you fancy, huh? Yeah, I know you can do 3 snaps in the neck roll in Z formation. But what will you do to change this nation? Why? Because Beyonce said when you get the information, you got to get information. What are you doing to get information with the greatness of who it is that you are? What are you doing to connect Because a lot of times we're hating on people who we should be learning from. As a superhero, here's what you have. You have an S on your chest. But doesn't mean you're always strong and stable and a survivor. Sometimes it means that you're sad. Sometimes it means that you're sensitive. Sometimes it means that you're struggling. Sometimes it even means that you're suffering in silence. But I need you to understand that you're here at this Nurse Ball Summit because you're surrounded by teammates. Teammates who will bring you through. Teammates who will empower you to grow through what it is that you go through and move your life to another level. Why do I say that? Because the other day I was in a grocery store and I noticed a little girl and her mother standing behind me. All of a sudden, a noise erupted and I looked around me, I looked behind me and I said, what in the world is going on? And I found that little girl had dropped cans of food. Nurse Jean had arrested my attention because immediately the little girl's mother unhappily looked down at her daughter. Latrice, right before her mother said a word, the little girl shrugged her shoulders, looked up at her mama and said, it's what's inside that counts. Yeah, it's what's inside that counts. To you that may not mean nothing, but may not mean anything, but to me it means everything. Because so many times people have dropped us. So many times we have dropped what we should have held on to. But the words of a little girl ought to remind you that it's what's inside of you that counts too. I know your circumstances may have dropped you to your knees, but here's what it did. It put you in the perfect position to pray.
That's right.
Why? Because if you can look up, you can get up. I know people dropped you. I know people gave up on you. I know people even left you for dead. But you got to look at this and you got to look at your situation. You just got to brush your shoulders off.
That's right.
You got to keep it moving by any means necessary. I'm crying, but I'm still moving.
That's right.
I'm crying, but I'm still walking. I don't feel my best. I don't feel the blessed. I don't feel beautiful today. But I know my beauty isn't just contained on what's outside of me. It's what's within me that matters. Why? Because you got to win from within. It's the determination. It's the never quit. It's the can't give up. It's the heroic heart. It's the crying but conquering mentality that's inside of you that counts too. Like that little girl in the grocery store. Here's what you ought to do. You ought to shrug your shoulders in the face of every doubter. You ought to shrug your shoulders in the face of every naysayer. You ought to shrug your shoulders in the face of debilitating doubters and tell yourself, no one or nothing can stop me because I've got strength inside of me that counts. Why is that? Because you're an unsung hero. You're a trailblazer. You're a trendsetter. You're a history maker. You're a record breaker. You're a mover and a shaker. It's time for you to do what's never been done before and go where you've never gone before. Here's what it's time to do. It's time for you to turn your contacts into contracts. It's time for you to shift your ideas into income. Could it possibly be that the person who you sit next to at this table today is your next level hookup?
That's good.
Is your new business partner? Is your prayer warrior? Is your encourager? Is here it is, your angel investor. So I'm getting ready to close. I remember Dr. King said this: of all the forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and the most inhuman because it results in physical death. I need you to understand how important your work is. Why? Because when 1 in 10 Americans don't have health insurance, don't have access to quality health care, this Nurse Ball Summit is a clarion call to ensure that everyone has access. Somebody just holler access.
Access.
Access to comprehensive, high quality health care. Nurses, whatever you do, don't lose the common touch. Don't lose the common touch. Don't just think about that this is just an opportunity for me to punch the clock. No, this is a serious patient who needs your patience. And whether you're changing an IV, whether you're checking a patient's blood pressure, whether you're sometimes checking somebody's vital signs, I'm a living witness that your work is vital to the health, the well-being, and the vitality of people like me. Don't think it's just something small. Don't think it's just some small act of kindness. Because I'm thankful, I'm grateful for nurses like you who had patience with me when I was a cancer patient. I'm grateful for nurses like you because it's your uncommon touch. It's your common touch that help people like me in so many uncommon ways. Nurses like you understand that you don't do this work for applause. You do this work for a cause. It's not just about an award, it's about your reward. You understand that this is more than just some vacation. You still on a vocation. Dr. Gene Watson said nurses are a unique kind. They have this insatiable need to care for others, which is both their greatest strength and their most painful, fatal flaw. Your profession is more than an occupation. It's a vocation. It's a calling. And as a consequence, you often put people's needs before your own. But I want you to prioritize you. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to put yourself on your schedule. Why? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. And too many times we're pouring into people who have holes in their cup.
Jesus.
We're pouring into people who really don't even value the value of what it is that we provide. Don't let society think you and tell you that you aren't qualified for the next level. I'm talking to people who are qualified. You may not have all of the degrees, you may not have all of the qualifications, but you got to understand your experience qualifies you for the next level. You're nurturing nurse in all of your life. You're the mother, you're the sister, you're the queen, you're the daughter, you're the wonderful wife. You are the person who adds value and brings that into people's life. Because too many times we have allowed society to shut us up. Far too many times we don't talk anymore. We don't really express our mind. We don't really express the value of what it is that we have experienced because we're suffering from possibility blindness. And not only that, but life oftentimes gave us laryngitis. Yeah, life gave us laryngitis. I want to ask you, as I head to my seat, at what age did you lose your voice? At what age and at what time in life did life mute your message? When situations silence you to where now you refuse to speak up and speak out, and as a consequence, your silence becomes violence. And due to the abuse that she experienced, due to the internal vitriolic rage that she harbored, the one and only Maya Angelou was at one time a cage bird who didn't sing. Because of her horrific hardship that she didn't even speak for 5 years, from the ages of 8 to 13. I want to ask you, what age did you stop speaking truth to power? At what age did, in many cases, you just become a robot and you just became robotic in your job? You just show up, you dress up, and you leave out. But you don't value anything of what it is that you have learned to get to where it is that you are. What genius is trapped inside of you that we still don't know yet and that you still haven't discovered? Because you decided to harbor your heroism rather than expressing it in your community and in your job and on the hall and on the floor that you work. What it takes is that it takes courage to be a hero and speak from your heart. And in order to be a hero, here's what you got to do. You got to sing. I don't care if you sing on key or off key. I hope you sing. Even if you need auto-tune, like T-Pain, I hope you sing. Whether you sing notes as high as Minnie Riperton or as low as Barry White, I hope you sing today and tonight. Don't let anybody mute your music. Don't let anybody pause your poetry. Don't let anybody invalidate your ideas. Why? Because challenges create champions, and the challenges you resist will be the victories that you miss. Why? Because every second in America, 2 to 3 people are diagnosed with cancer. 1 in every 1,000 teenagers is diagnosed, and I was one of them. Just like you, I'm a living witness that our lives can change in a matter of seconds. There can be an interruption that takes place in our lives. And more than these startling statistics, it reminds me of these harsh realities. That guy who said those words to me, "I thought you died," triggered me because it produced the same pain that I was experiencing in my chest when I was struggling to breathe as a teenager. Ultimately being diagnosed with NHL. I thought it stood for National Hockey League. But it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's right, stage 4 cancer. Y'all, cancer made me cry, but it didn't make me quit. If we had the movie The Color Purple on the screen in here, I'd tell you, just like Sophia, all my life, I had to fight. Do I got some fighters in here? You fought through the storm, you fought through the rain, you fought through the trials and the pain. You don't look like what you've been through. Why? Because your test is a testimony, your misery is ministry, your mess is a message, your stumbling block is a stepping stone. And what God will do is he'll use your setback as a setup for your greatest comeback. Somebody in here knows that God will turn your grief into grace. He'll turn your tragedy into strategy. People who I thought were praying for me were literally praying on me. Sitting on the sideline expecting my demise. I lost my self-confidence. I lost my hair. I lost my self-esteem. I lost my will to live. My own father never visited me one day in the hospital. Enough to want to give up. Very few people thought I would make it, but by the grace of God, I stand before you today. 24 years as a survivor and an overcomer. 2024 marks 24 years of me being cancer-free. I stand before you as an author of 16 books. I stand before you as the founder of the mentoring and literacy program Boys to Books. I stand before you as a President's Volunteer Service Award and a President's Lifetime Achievement Award honoree from the White House. I stand before you as an international speaker. I stand before you as a servant leader. And I just flew here from Detroit to say thank you. I just flew here to say thank you. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for who it is that you are. Thank you for what it is that you do for people like me and for what you do that in many cases you don't even get the pat on your back, because oftentimes the pat on your back is somebody trying to stab you in the back. But I want to tell you thank you because you helped me to live through dying places, because it's real nurses, it's real responders like you who cause people like me to overcome. And I just stopped by to tell you, don't fold, don't flinch, don't quit. Don't flatline. Like that heart monitor, there's always going to be ups and downs. And the ups and downs let you know that you're alive. The ups and downs let you know that there's going to be mountains and valleys. There's going to be peaks and valleys. I know why the caged bird sings. And just like you, I'm an unsung hero. You're an unsung hero, but I can sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and that's the reason why I sing. You're here at this summit because you're not someone who is tolerated, you're someone who is celebrated. You've got the heart of a hero who cares for the least, the last, the lost, the left out, the overlooked, the underserved, and the underrepresented. You come from heroes. Don't ever let anybody make you feel as if you're a villain. Yes, you come from a generation of unsung heroes, from heroic nurses who bloom where they were planted, and you can see a lot farther today because you stand on the shoulders of giants. And so I want you today to be a nurturing nurse and understand that you stand on the shoulders of people like a Florence Nightingale. Be a force like Florence Nightingale. Find clarity like a Clara Barton. Be a history maker like a Mary Mahoney. Improve the health of men and women and children like a Mary Breckinridge, like a Linda Richards, like a Walt Whitman, like an Anna Maxwell, like a James Durham, like a Hazel Johnson Brown, like a Leroy Craig, like an Edith Cavell. Be compelled to shift the paradigm as you smile and shine, because the words of a witty warrior by the name of Maya Angelou told you, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the dirt, but still like dust I rise. That same Maya Angelou told you, as a nurse, you have the opportunity to heal the heart, the mind, and the soul, and the body of your patients, their families, and even ourselves. They may not remember your name, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. And so today you can rise in the face of any opposition. You can rise in the face of any situation. I can rise in the face of that same guy who said to me, I thought you died, and I can look at him and tell him today, you thought wrong. Because as you can clearly see, I didn't die, I multiplied. Whatever you do, Nurse Boss Summit, multiply your gifts. Multiply your mindset. Multiply your greatness. Multiply your vision. Multiply your community. Multiply and bring unity. Multiply because you have survived. Multiply because it's your time to thrive. You're too unique to compete. You're too rare to compare. You're a nurse we can believe in. You're a nurse we can trust. You're a nurse that we can, in many cases, rise with the heart of a hero to courageously say, like a Kendrick Lamar, they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.